stupid thing that the game has said on the internet this week that we can talk about is why is Sony making all their women characters look like men? And they had a picture of Aloy, and they had gone to the work to Photoshop Aloy's face to make it look more like a model. So yeah, that's what the stupid thing has said. Who wants to go and have a comment about that one?
I will. I'll jump in first on this. So I 100% agree. It's so bloody stupid. Like, it really doesn't matter either way whether like they look, because a woman without makeup doesn't look like a man. Let's just get that out there right now. And Aloy doesn't look like a man. She looks like a still fairly pretty young woman who's just lives outside. She lives in a post-apocalypse. Okay, not everyone's gonna look perfectly made up. And the same with Abby. Like she trains and she has a muscular body. That's not manly. That's just being athletic. You look at like the Olympics, or the sprinter who was going to be in the Olympics until she had a run-in with she had like a drug test come back. Sha'Carri Richardson, the American runner. She has a very muscular body. Because she trains a lot. And I think it's so ridiculously stupid and so unbearably misogynistic to say that a woman that isn't, classically attractive with her hair all done and like makeup on, because it doesn't fit the game that they're in, or it's just not their character. I think it's just so incredibly misogynistic to say that character looks like a man. But then, on the other side of the coin, because this is like what feminism is really about, it's all about equality, not one set of people being better than the other. I also really don't like the people that attack characters or women, like real life women, for, wearing makeup. So, personally for me, I don't care either way whether Aloy wears makeup or not. It would irritate me because it doesn't really fit the, setting, because I don't think really anyone wears makeup other than, the face paint. But, it just comes into, how misogynistic do you want to be? Do you want to call her a man because she's not wearing makeup, or do you want to call her a slut because she is wearing makeup?
Absolutely agree. And I also think it's dangerous. I think it's dangerous and telling that the gaming community feels that's what a woman should look like, and if they don't look like that, then they're a man. It tells a lot of young women to say, oh, this is what the male demographic feel, that if you don't wear makeup, you're going to look like a bloke, and who wants to look like a bloke necessarily? It gives so many wrong messages, and it's just completely wrong. Not to mention the fact that I actually thought the picture and this is my personal opinion, I actually thought Aloy looked more attractive without all the makeup and what he'd done to her, when she made her look like every other made up woman in video games. But that's another matter entirely. It's unnecessary. It doesn't need to be said. And I actually praise Sony for taking different body types of women and actually putting them at the forefront and actually making them interesting 3D characters. I didn't think Horizon as a video game was that great, but I was absolutely enthralled by what Aloy as a character was. Same with The Last of Us. My favourite character was Abby. I probably wouldn't have got to the end of the game and binged the game as much as I did without Abby as a character, because I actually thought Abby was in the right. When everyone was like, Abby must die and Abby's rubbish, I actually thought Abby was the best character, and she was justified in what she'd done. And she was more interesting because I'd never come across a character that looked like that before. And it got me interested in it. So yeah, I think it's stupid that I think people need to wake up, is how I'm going to close it. Is if you're still, after all this time, thinking that's what women should look like all the time, regardless of their setting and where they are, you are two-dimensional yourself, my friend, and you need to broaden your own horizons.
Jack?
Go on then, Jack.
I also think that, these characters, also some female gamers see them as, not necessarily idols, but, they look up to these characters because they can then sort of, not envelop, another word for envelop, feel like they're this character and,
relate
trying to find the right word, but yes, relate to. And this man or whoever it was doing this, it's undermining those young or older female gamers who relate and idolize these characters because their representation in video games is these characters: Aloy, Abby, Ellie, Dina, like Lara Croft, all those female characters that are like strong female leads. They're, you know, this is women representation in games. By men doing this, it's undermining that and sort of and alienating female gamers because they're then made to feel like, oh, guys don't like this, I shouldn't play this or stuff like that. I don't. Yeah, that's what I think. Like, it's. I don't have a huge knowledge on top of this stuff, but I just thought I
think
I'm sure a lot of women gamers look up to these gamers.
Francis in the chat
characters.
is exactly right. Basically, video games as an industry is behind the times, I think.
Absolutely.
In that department, at least.
Isn't that like a small percentage of game developers as well are female, right? It's like majority male as well.
Absolutely. Like the representation and diversity in video games is just ridiculous. Like of the examples just then that Jack listed, Abby, Ellie, Lara Croft, they're all like fairly attractive young white women. Like, it's ridiculous how undiverse and homogenous video game characters are, and I do agree with Bill that Sony is, heading in the right way to represent more women, but diversity is so important. It's like what Jack said, you need to see someone on screen that you relate to, and people making Aloy look pretty or saying that Abby looks like a man because she's muscular is undermining that. I 100% agree. But it's also worth remembering, on the other hand, that we shouldn't undermine female characters that do look conventionally attractive, because that's going to make, young girls who choose to wear makeup because it's fun, it's an art form, you're painting your face pretty colours. We don't want to undermine them either. You do have to be very careful. You don't want to, bless with one hand and condemn with the other. You have to be very equal when talking about stuff like this.
Absolutely, and there's still really powerful characters who fit that mold. Jill Valentine, I think, is a great example of that. Bayonetta is a great character as well, in that kind of vein as well. Not because of the fact that they put sex at the forefront solely, but it's just how powerful they are and what they can do, and everything within their game is all about how strong they are as characters. But it's the reaction of when you just don't get that stereotype every time, where gamers like Jill Valentine is a perfect example. When they remade Resident Evil 3, Jill lost the mini skirt and the boob tube top and got more what you'd expect potentially to wear when a woman is in her flat and gets attacked by a massive monster. That's kind of what she had round the house, not what she had in the original. And there was an outcry. It's kind of like, we must have the original look. What have you done? Where is it?
It was the same when they redesigned a lot of the female Mortal Kombat characters, so that they weren't wearing bikinis. They were wearing more like what the male characters wore, but they kept them in high heels. Yeah.
And that's a good example as well. I think cosplayers are a good example. Is that what a woman chooses to cosplay at? They liked what they saw, and that excuse me, that's perfectly fine with that. It does get a bit. I mean, Ivy from Soul Calibur is probably the most over the top version of that. I don't know if anybody. Do you know who Ivy from Soul Calibur is? Yeah. I think that's a bit. That's probably the most extreme, but still. I think it is, like you say, Ash, completely. It's all about diversity and having that range and allowing people to have these different types of characters. I actually thought Sheva from Resident Evil 5 was a really interesting character, but people, maybe it was something to do with the AI, but she hasn't been seen since because I think she was just too different. And that's a shame, because otherwise every character is going to be looking the same again. And I don't want that. We want in the same way I don't always want a muscular man on the front cover of a video game.
Oh my god, tell me about it. Some of my favourite games are I love Alan Wake because he's not a classic video game hero. He's like a wimpy writer dude. I think Francis Lilly in the chat has said something about how God of War is way too over the top. I completely agree with constantly having, you need the diversity in male form as well. And look at how well Alan Wake didn't do.
Ooh,
Go on then, John. You got
another
anything
strong
on this
female
one?
character, like
To be honest, I don't really have much to add. I mean, you've raised so many valid points there, but just one thing that always annoys me is female armor in games. Female armor always is quite, shaped a very specific way when it would just be the same shape as male armor for, like torso armor. You look at Skyrim or, any sort of game along those lines. Yeah.
It's so annoying in like Monster Hunter because the male armor always looks really badass, and then the female version of the same armor is always a miniskirt, and I'm like, no, I want trousers.
or it's literally like an armored bikini, basically.
It's Ivy from Soul Calibur.
Yeah, there you go. Cheney has a
Yeah,
question.
I think ultimately it's fine to have either. If you want more kind of makeup, I'm struggling to find the right words, but sexualized characters, jumping on that and saying you're not progressive enough is wrong, because that's an expression of art in its own right, and that shouldn't be shamed away from and moved away from. But ultimately, I think it's just as wrong to not say is that a man or is that a woman, or is that women's bodies can't do that? That's unrealistic. It's like, no, you've just never actually looked into it, and your knowledge of the physical form is lacking. So
you watch the Olympics in 2 weeks' time. I'll guarantee that the physical athleticism of just about every female that we're going to see at the Olympics would be 100 times better than what any one of us could do, Bill. So yeah,
so that's a good point. Go watch the bloody Olympics and tell me that's not realistic. That's a perfect example.
Shall I sum this up then?
Go for it.
Yes, as we're now coming up to the end of time, aren't we?
So basically, I think this whole discussion has been a really good thing. It's very important to talk about these sorts of things in the gaming industry. We've basically gone over how ridiculous it is that the internet reaction to any woman that does not fit the traditional attractive woman standards in video games is called mannish. But then on the other hand, you have to remember that there are powerful characters out there that are attractive and own their sexuality, like Bayonetta. And basically, if you are one of the people that thinks a woman can't look a certain way, or shouldn't wear makeup, or should wear makeup because it makes them look mannish otherwise, you need to go outside and touch some grass.
Well done.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why we waited until you got back, Ash, to talk about this one.
Bill's been sitting on this for weeks.
This is growing into one of my favourite segments if we continue to do this and you guys like talking about this, which is stupid things that people say on the internet and calling attention to it. That's it. Crack your knuckles. Let's get ready for this one.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Because I've read it and I think it's the most ridiculous thing in the world.
I also think it's ridiculous.
It's absolutely horrible. And I can give you some context as to where I got this from. And I like this because I think it's important to draw attention to what these stupid people are saying on the internet and just, shut them down as much as we can within our area, because it's just not acceptable. But anyway, here's the question what we've got on this one. So, stupid thing that I read on the internet recently. You should lose weight if you want to be a Twitch streamer. Would anybody want to talk about this first?
Hi, I'm gonna jump in on this.
Go ahead.
I think this is quite possibly the stupidest thing that anyone has ever. I'm like trying really hard to not swear. I think this is the stupidest thing that anyone has ever said on the internet, because weight in general, should not be a limiting factor for anyone. It just should not be a limiting factor. It's just I hate to use the word, it's a social construct a socially ingrained thing that being overweight means that you are unhealthy. That's just not true. It's just not a fact. And I think it's so stupid because of all the hobbies and professions and jobs out there, the one that's gonna affect, that your weight is gonna affect the least, is being a Twitch streamer. And quite frankly, what this is horrible, horrible, toxic people saying oh, because you don't conform to what I find attractive, what I have been socially conditioned to find attractive, you can't put yourself out there in a way where people are supposed to look at you, because that's all it is. I'm presuming that this was said about a female streamer.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So essentially, what it is the same misogyny from last week, where it was, you know, oh, Aloy looks like a man because she's not classically pretty. It's the same misogyny where, like, someone has said this. Oh, you're it's the whole you're fat, therefore you are ugly. Even though that's 100% not true. You can be fat and beautiful. In fact, everyone deserves to feel beautiful. Like, regardless of anything, like, it's just a thing that people deserve. And this is a horrible misogynistic thing where you don't conform to socially constructed gender norms or, like, ideas of attractiveness based on a particular view, a very narrow-minded view. Therefore, you shouldn't be seen in public. You shouldn't do the things you enjoy doing because I don't find you attractive. And I think it's hideous.
Oh, you almost slipped on the last word there, Ash.
Yep.
Yeah, but well done. Jack, do you want to add to anything before I give you more context?
Yeah, quickly. It's essentially gatekeeping if you think about it. Like, certain people have these knowledge of how they think a Twitch streamer should look, and I do have more to add, but I if you.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So yeah,
I'll add this and then context and then. Yeah,
this was one of many comments. I'll have to see if I got because I thought I made a note of the other one, but it's not here. But this is one of many comments that I've seen floating about the place where majority, like you say, Ash, is directed at female streamers. I have heard it being said to The Completionist, if you're a fan of him on YouTube.
I like him. He's good. I like him.
I've heard it towards him, and he has gone on record on sometimes to say, actually, I need to hear this to be able to look after myself sometimes and things like that. But the majority of it is female streamers. Men seem to be excluded from this. But just playing devil's advocate before I get into my own thoughts and feelings for the moment, this obviously, there was a certain degree of the community of this person who jumped in and started to defend the person they followed and liked. And the following response for this person is, I'm just trying to help you. You know, you're an up-and-coming streamer. You're getting some notoriety, and if you really want to break the echelon of what else is there, I'm just trying to help you out so you can get into the lofty heights of everybody else is there.
Why would I say that? You don't.
I'll pause there if you want, so you can jump in. Go ahead.
Do you mind if I jump in real quick on this?
Go for it.
Yeah, go on. I have some stuff to talk about that, but yeah, just that little comment, just like
the most disgusting thing that you could say, like, as an excuse for saying something like that. I'm just trying to help you, because what that means is that person that said that is socially aware enough to know that there is a glass ceiling, like a constructed glass ceiling, where pretty, like, that's not the right word, because, like, conventionally attractive people, as decided by social norms, are more popular. But, like, you're not helping anyone. The way I see it is, if someone can change it in 5 minutes or less, then sure, point it out. Like, oh, hey, did you know you've got, like, something in your teeth? You can change that in 5 minutes. But to tell someone, like to say you should lose weight if you want to be a Twitch streamer, and then say, oh, I'm just trying to help you, bro, because, you know, only pretty people get to be like famous and nice and, like, have fun on Twitch and do their hobbies without being harassed, essentially. And also, like, what if they don't want to lose weight? Like, not everyone, and also like, as an extra aside to this, not everyone who is overweight, like, for reasons that people think they are. And I think commenting on something like that, like, because it might be a health-related reason, it might be, you know, it might be just a genetic thing, it might just be the way someone is, and, like, because I know it can be very hard to lose weight. And I think commenting on something like that, and then trying to play it off as being helpful, that is just you being an absolute tool on the internet. And I don't think anyone that says it on the internet would be brave enough to say it to someone's face.
Absolutely not. And that's the main thing about what this is. So I'm going to switch off because I couldn't do it for long. I'm going to switch off my devil's advocate now and get my own 2 cents in here as well. Is that I want everybody to play games. There's a game for everybody, and I think Twitch is a fantastic platform to actually share that hobby. How people feel that, like, again, I think we talked about this before. As soon as you're in front of the camera, you're their possession. You're there for them. You are entertaining them, and it's their kind of rules. And it's like, I know what I want, and if you want me to donate money, if you want me to watch you, then this is what you need to give me. Otherwise, I'll go watch someone else. Go watch someone else. I don't want you. I don't want you to have that attention. And the fact that some of the talented women that I've been watching playing games, and they are damn good. They are much better than me, certainly, but a lot of the male gamers, and they set a lot of better examples. These kind of people. Their personal opinion. Obviously, it's up to you how you stream, and different people like different things. But I like streamers, female streamers and male streamers who focus more on the games than they do necessarily what's going on in the background, or what they're wearing, or what they're cosplaying today. It's just my own personal taste. The fact that they are so talented and they have a platform to show that talent, that matters more than what they look like. And what makes matters even worse is the people that are getting told this are not overweight. They are comparing it to what Twitch's ideal is, which is in most cases underweight. These people are very, very skinny, and their body shape it doesn't equal the same kind of weight goals. I think you touched on this a bit earlier, didn't you, Ash? They're not necessarily overweight. It's just that they're more shapely. And the fact that you've got this preference, go watch that channel. Not everybody should look the same. Not everybody should have, bleach blonde hair and wear a bikini in a hot tub. There's channels for that, and you can enjoy that. Don't try and make everybody else be that. And if you're affected by this, if you are into Twitch streaming, and you've been affected by someone saying that, and that's in the back of your mind when you turn off your Twitch and you look yourself in the mirror and you think, that out of everybody who was talking to me, that's the one comment that stayed with them. Please never change. Please be who you want to be, and stream the games you want to stream, and be your own person. Because if everybody was the same, I wouldn't be watching Twitch. I'm looking for people who are going to be different, So yeah.
I think a lot of it stems from, like you said, a lot of the Twitch ideal. I wouldn't necessarily say they are underweight. It's a very, very strict idea that people have of what is the ideal woman.
Yeah, better way of saying it. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that stems from, it's such a buzzword, but like unrealistic beauty standards. And this like holds for men as well, because you look at like the amount of stress people like Hugh Jackman and Chris Hemsworth go through to have their shirtless shots in their superhero movies. This goes for men as well. But there's such a narrow view of what the perfect body type is. And I think people forget that that's not the average. That's not like the standard. That's the socially conditioned thing that you are expected to like. And it's perfectly fine to like that. That's the thing that you have to remember as well, is it's perfectly fine to like that. It's perfectly acceptable to look like that, as long as you aren't being an absolute twat to other people that don't. Just let people exist and like enjoy their lives as they are. It's not hard to be kind. It's really not. Like, it takes more effort to be nasty, to think of a nasty comment and type it, than it does to not.
Yeah. And I think these people do it for attention. They do it. So again, talking to those people who've been affected, and it's easy to say, and it's a lot harder to put into practice. But trust me, as if it means anything to you, if you've been affected by this, because I try to talk to people who are affected by this, get called, sensitive about this. I play games. I love games. I live games. It's my hobby. It's what I really enjoy. I think it's phenomenal that more and more girl gamers are coming forward, rising above this hatred to actually share their hobby. And I want more people to play games, not just women, but all ages and everything. Just don't let these people affect you. Just let you continue to express yourself and play them. And trust us, us guy gamers, we don't all want the same. the people who say that are so disconnected from reality. They're not a real representation of what a proper boy gamer would be if he's got any kind of decent bone in his body. You. In closing, sorry, Jack, if you've got any other points, of course, before we shut up this on, then by all means. But
I do have a few.
Yeah, I'll hand over to you in
like,
just a second. But what I want to just say to everybody is that if you're the kind of person just talking to those people that say this kind of stupid, hateful thing online, you not only are you putting a bad light on us guy gamers, and you just think that you're one step ahead of everybody else, and you're allowing, you're just telling people what it is and all that garbage that you've brainwashed yourself. So you're just a coward. You're shallow, and you're just embarrassing yourself. And there's a thing where you can just change the channel if you want to get that experience. That's fine. You just do that. But not everybody needs to meet your expectations, however stupid they are. That's just your opinion. So yeah, if you're saying stupid things like that to people, and you think you're doing them a favour because you want them to go on to bigger things and become a better streamer and all of that kind of stuff, it's that kind of stuff that makes me switch off. I'd much rather have all different types of body types, all these different kinds of people, all different realms, whoever you are, rather than just having loads of copy and paste lookalikes. So yeah, just pack it in.
If anybody in our community said that, like, it wouldn't, like, I know this community is really good for that sort of stuff. They don't really.
But Jack, you don't need those people. If you had anybody in your streams that said this, that's what I think when. Yeah, exactly. You don't need.
Yeah,
them.
Obviously, yeah,
not. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, they shouldn't be there because of that. Because they're doing that. Like, there shouldn't be any negativity in a chat. If you're there to entertain people, you also want to make sure. I always personally make sure that they're having a nice time. But like, I don't think I'd ever want to comment on anybody's hateful stuff, because it's not right. These people are putting either a persona on or their actual selves out there.
You bring up a valid point, and I'll hand over to you, Ash, because I know you've got some other points to go into, but this might actually lead on to some other things you might want to talk about as well. I don't see Twitch as a form of entertainment, and it might be just me, it might be just living in my idealistic world, but I feel like Twitch is more of a hangout place for you to chat to people with like-minded interests. Because movies is more entertainment, is for what I can see, and things like that. And Hollywood there's the names I meant to write these down as part of this point, I forgot, but there's several actresses recently who came into the industry as the funny fat chick and then have lost weight.
Oh, Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy, Rebel Wilson, Amy Schumer,
Amy Schumer,
yeah. And and by all means, kind of criticise me for saying what I'm about to say, but I just hope that either if you feel that it's already there and I'm living in a dream world, fair enough, or if it never gets there, I'd prefer it, where I just don't want games to go through the same thing where you have to look a certain way to play games. I think games is getting to the forefront now, where it's actually a form that you can watch on things like Twitch and share.
It's a bigger
more
industry than film TV.
Yeah, it's less kind of lock away in your cupboard and play video games. You can share.
Yeah, it's more. Yeah. That's why I think the cafe does so well, is because you can go. I think that's why games have become such a big forefront in media now, is because there's more variety. The better consoles have got, the more variety people will play. Like we play LFG and stuff, and the amount of people we've chatted to, and I've made mates on LFG, and there's like this big group. It's just like, it's not small anymore, and for people to undermine female gamers and tell them, oh, I don't like you because you look a certain way, I don't want you to play my game, get thinner. Obviously I'm not loosely broadening that, but that makes women gamers and like people who even like you said, the completionist, he got told that, like, he may have said, oh, it keeps me in check, but at the same time, like, people shouldn't say that, because it's quite, like, some people do feel quite insecure about their weight.
Yeah, and there's a different way of saying it. I mean, like Productions has just said that had someone
ways.
said to him, "I know who ate all the pies," it's like you're particularly doing that just to get a rise out of someone. But go on, Ash. I know you got some bits you want to say. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, do you want me to sum this up in typical angry Ashley fashion?
Go for it. I love these.
Okay, so essentially, what we have been talking about is that you can look however you want to look, whether that is just for playing games, streaming on Twitch, whatever. Like, you do you, boo. And if you are the sort of a horrible, disgusting, garbage person that comments on any aspect of a person's like appearance because you don't like it, then that just makes you like a horrible, horrible human being. If you are saying to someone, "I don't like you because of the way you look," that makes you trash. And to all of the people out there that have experienced this in any fashion, whether that is fat phobia, whether that is someone saying, "Oh, I don't like the fact that you have brown eyes," not to trivialize it, but in any fashion, if someone has said that to you, what you need to remember is that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. As long as you are happy, whether you are happy with the way you look or it's something you want to work on, or, you know, it's something you don't want to work on, it's entirely up to you. As long as you are happy existing as you exist, then you can ignore that person. Their comment is not worth the mental strife that it's going to put on you to keep thinking about it. It wasn't worth the effort it took them to make that comment. And if you are the sort of person that comments that, all that does is reflect your own insecurities. It's you projecting your own insecurities on someone else that doesn't deserve it. You need to go away, work on yourself, stop being such a trashy garbage person, and just get in the fucking bin.
You almost got there, Ash. You almost got there. Very passionate words, though, and
I'm so sorry.
You couldn't. I don't think we could say any more on it. The only other thing I'll add
I
is
loved it. The ending was quite funny.
Yeah, the only thing I can say to add to that is thank you for having the guts, Twitch streamers, to come on to stream and actually stepping up and being in front of the camera. Some people find that easier than others, and some people don't. But that's the beauty of being different. So
I think what I like about Twitch streaming, as I said, I find it, for me personally, it's entertaining people by being yourself.
Yeah.
Like, and I think people saying that to streamers they watch isn't letting them be themselves. That's conforming them to.
Yeah, and we don't want that. As many gamers out there as possible to as many different types and everything else. I think that's the joy about it.
There should always be, like, whoever you are, whatever age, whatever body type, everything. If there's something out there that you enjoy and want to stream it. Like, go for it. Start. I want to eventually, when I'm older, start streaming more, like by myself, when I move out and stuff. And like, I'd encourage that to anybody. Like, even in our community, if anybody's nervous about streaming, it can be quite liberating.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, it just takes an idiot like that to say something like this, and that can knock you down. Just don't let it. And if you feel that way, come and speak to someone about it and have a chat, because you're brave to get in front of a camera and do this. I'm not just saying that because I'm doing it myself. I'm just saying it because I've spoken to people who that first step over the line to actually put themselves in front of Twitch doesn't come natural for everybody. And don't let things like this affect you, because you're having fun and we want to see it. So yeah, be different what you are. Serious points. But that's the nature of that segment, I think.
I'm just gonna keep summing them up in angry. I want a compilation made of me just getting angry at stupid people on the internet.
It reminds me of Jerry Springer when he has his final thoughts. He calls it Ash's final thoughts. I'm cool with that because I think you sum it up greatly. So that's
getting angry with Ash.
Yeah.